So here's a story from Business Insider. Bill Gates says political polarization may bring it all to an end and could even lead to a civil war. I saw this headline and I was like, wow, that's really interesting thing of him to say. But so what? A lot of people have said that. And then I actually scroll down and read the quote. He says, I admit that political polarization may bring it all to an end. We're going to have a hung election and a civil war. Yeah, he didn't say we might. He says we are. We are going to have a hung election and a civil war. Now, I wonder, could this be because Bill Gates reads The Bulwark? Because we talked about that last week. And I don't know if you saw the story. The Bulwark published an article about how the Civil War could start. And I think they make an interesting point that come the midterms, you got right-wing people and left-wing people showing up to the polls. Duh, it's an election. And they're accusing each other of impropriety or something. A fight breaks out. Someone's armed. Someone gets shot. There's a viral video of someone being killed in a polling place. That's what the Bulwark said. I don't know for sure, but I do think that if you already have people who don't trust the election, they're of course going to show up to polling places. I mean, what, even 5 people maybe at each place? And then you're going to get Antifa types and leftist types, and they're going to show up as well. And then what happens?
Well, his comments are very important here because he said specifically, I quote, I have no experience with it. I'm not going to put my money on it because I don't know how to spend it, saying pretty much that it's guaranteed. But then he also went on and later made the points that it's polarization and the lack of trust that is the main problem, specifically pointing at Robert Kennedy as someone who, of course, criticized him. And he's using this concern, which a large majority of the American people have. A lot of people think there's going to be a civil war in this country, according to many polls. He's using this fear in order to galvanize pressure on people criticizing him. So this is another aspect to also understand here with his latest kind of salacious comments.
I love this idea that like Bill Gates is sitting in his living room, like watching TV. And then he just comes across this a news story about Robert Kennedy criticizing him. And he said, what about me? There's going to be a civil war in this country. Like he thinks that.
But the article also talks about how part of the problem is misinformation, right? And we know that misinformation is a catch-all term that is used to describe anything that the left doesn't agree with.
Yep.
You know?
Here's my favorite part, though. He says, quote, I have no expertise in that. I'm not going to divert my money to that because I wouldn't know how to spend it, says the guy who owns more farmland than anyone else in the United States.
Yeah.
So I start to wonder about that because when he started buying up farmland, we talked about it,
right?
And we were like,
creepy.
Why is he doing this?
Right.
Yeah. Good investment, maybe. Now he's like, oh yeah, and by the way, there's going to be a civil war, and it's like, is that why you're? Because here's what I said when he was like, I wouldn't know what to do. I said it's simple, like build a bunker. I mean, what I actually said was get a corporate laundromat and hire 8 German guys to start digging underneath one of your machines, for your. He's watching Better Call Saul. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's also working on a lot of interesting projects. He's introducing a new kind of patented GMO corn into Africa, which allegedly is going to be helping them deal with hunger and the climate. And in reality, he wants to get people off of meat. He wants people to stop using cows, chickens, pigs in order to fight climate change. And he's doing this with GMO corn.
Is this corn going to be the kind that has no seeds? You know how there was like Monsanto
seeds that did that specifically, farmers had to keep buying it from them, and farmers were sued even for cross-pollination previously before. So, it's still unknown the details of what's happening here, but Bill Gates was one of the major backers of Monsanto, which introduced corn, which is heavily subsidized and creates high fructose corn syrup, which is banned in many places around the world.
So wait. They produced corn that made no seeds.
They produced a number of agricultural products that produced no seeds, so the farmer always had to buy the seeds from Monsanto and be dependent on them.
Right. No, I get that. And I know there's like seedless watermelon. I'm just imagining.
I'm wondering about how seedless corn would work, since all corn is seeds, right? So,
I think
as I said, that I was like trying to visualize that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
sterilized.
Yeah.
So it can regrow.
Corn. Yeah. So
but I'm wondering. I mean, like seedless fruits, things like that. We have seedless grapes. I'm just wondering. It's like I'm imagining a dystopian future where people find seeds and they're like, we're saved, and they plant them and they get one crop, and then there's no reproduction.
And there's nothing. Yeah, exactly.
And then it's over.
Yeah, that's why they have those seed vaults in the Arctic.
Svalbard.
Right.
Yeah, it's in, what is that, Norway? Or is it,
I think it's Norway.
Is it Norway? Svalbard.
Yeah.
The seed vault where they store all those seeds, because I guess we don't want to die.
Yeah, we don't want to die. I think it's a good idea.
Humans have grown quite fond of living.
Yes.
Most of them, at least.
But as he's trying to push for climate change, telling people not to eat real meat, he also has 100 patents on synthetic meats, on synthetic cheeses. He also has a lot of intellectual property, and he literally just came out a couple months ago and said rich countries need to switch to completely synthetic beef, which of course would greatly benefit him more than anyone else. So we have to start thinking about why he made these comments now about civil war and what's the greater benefit to him, as of course it's also important to note here that he is a man that has financed and funneled hundreds of millions of dollars into the corporate media that literally acts like his PR marketing team that regurgitates all of his larger business proposals and sells it to the American and international public. The Guardian, the BBC, MSNBC, many organizations are directly financed by Bill Gates, and this is why you can't trust any legitimate news coverage, as well as also the fact checkers that of course attack any criticism of him, which is absolutely dystopian and ridiculous to live in such a world where we can't even criticize this billionaire that is best friends with Jeffrey Epstein.
I see all these people that say they don't think civil war is possible and stuff, and I'm just like, more and more people are at each other's throats. More and more people are accusing each other of being evil. It doesn't matter if you're right or they're right.